you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Why don't you
Great.
tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started?
I've been a channel for an Ascended Master for about 26 years. And we run a school, my husband and I run a school in Western Massachusetts for metaphysics and spiritual growth, consciousness growth. I'm also a soul psychologist, psychotherapist. I've been in private practice for about 28 years. Uh, I've written a few books, and I was a columnist for a magazine, and I'm very interested in the new consciousness and where we are going as a human race, what the new human being is going to be like.
Yeah, exactly. You know what attracted me to your book and ultimately to you was I've always liked this quote by Einstein. He said that we're never going to come up with the solutions from the same level of consciousness that created the problems.
Yes.
And that sort of tells me something that, I mean, we are in crisis right now. On this planet,
Yes.
everything is at the tipping point. And
Yes.
I can only see three things that's going to help us. One, if the God of the old Bible shows up, the capricious, jealous, vengeful God, I'm not too sure that that's going to happen.
Okay.
The other one would be if an advanced race is watching us and looking out for us and going to come at an opportune time. But the one I think is more credible is a shift of consciousness.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I can feel that, and maybe that even in conjunction with an advanced race helping us.
Yes.
As odd as that sounds, but the evidence is leading us to believe that there may be help on the horizon if we can come as a global consciousness up to a certain level.
Yes.
What do you have to say about that?
I love that description. That's great. I feel the same way. We're shifting into the Aquarian age, and the Aquarian age is known as that we will all be awakening to our higher mind, so to speak, through group collaboration, through group awakening. The Aquarian age is it's a very electrical process. Aquarius rules electricity, sudden change, radical revolution, genius, and so we have the potential as we make the shift of the ages to wake up intuitively, to have much greater access to our higher minds, and to leave some of the rote negativity of the lower mind that's kept us so limited. As we do that, of course, our vibratory rate is increasing. The vibratory rate on the planet is increasing. We're experiencing tremendous acceleration in energy, and that is evolving us really, really quickly if we just rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
Many of us are working on that, and others are, they're resisting and kind of digging in a little bit. My sense is that from the Ascended Master that I channel, the Tibetan, that there is certainly the Ascended Masters, or what I call Earth School faculty, are tremendously present at this juncture, as well as our linkage with the extraterrestrial family, with other beings in the spirit plane and the etheric plane, to assist us in this rapid movement of awakening. And because the vibrational rate is so accelerated, it's stimulating the Kundalini energy, and it's moving very quickly, regardless of whether we're meditating or not. It's just moving, which is exciting and at the same time challenging, because it's kicking up all of the old blockages that need to be resolved, and people are feeling overwhelmed and flooded by so much inner disturbance, not to mention the disturbance on the planet. So it's hard for people to realize that this is a portal or an entryway into a time of spiritual renaissance. It's people often are wondering, how bad can things get, things like that. I agree with you. I think we have an opportunity to awaken ourselves very quickly. Yeah.
They could get pretty bad, and they probably will get worse as we go through this transition, because we're going to have two different systems overlapping for a while, the old system and the
Yes.
new. And it
Yes.
sort of brings to mind, I mean, I'm a guy, so I can't really relate to this entirely, but I've watched childbirth. And it seems like
Yes.
the thing that makes it so painful is if the mother is afraid.
Yes.
And that fear factor changes the whole dimension, the whole experience of childbirth from one of pain to actually orgasmic pleasure.
Yes.
And I think we can learn from that as a society, because if we can let loose of our fear, this is
Yes.
going to be the ride of a lifetime. And it might be even why some of us are here to take
definitely.
this, because we can take this experience with us to other realms and maybe help other worlds at some point.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. It's interesting that you talk about the process of birth, because I think it's the first or second chapter in my book, Making the Shift. There's a whole part of it that's describing humankind we're going through a labor. It's the birth of a new cosmic day, and the birth of this new cosmic day is not only our Earth and our new human being, our new world order. It's also the intergalactic family. It's the larger universe in which we live, and the Tibetan often refers to it as the labor, the contractions, and that we're going through what we would consider severe labor pains. And how do we hold the focus, and how do we remember that it's a birth? Like you said, it could be an orgasmic process, and ultimately we have that potential. At the same time, we can get caught up in the pain and forget that this is, we think it's the end times or total destruction. And in reality, there's a birth that's coming out of this that's quite remarkable. And so we have the opportunity, as we talk to each other and share, just like the coach with the birthing mother, keep breathing, keep focusing, keep the heart open. Remember what's really going on here. We're getting stretched. It's like we're dilating. It's like our consciousness itself is getting stretched, and it's very exciting and yet very challenging too. And I'm sure a lot of us would like the birth process to be over. And my sense of it, my understanding of it is we're very much still right in the middle of the process.
Yeah, we're right at the
Right. Exactly.
One of the chapters I liked best was moving into the mystery, because something I've noticed, I wrote a book on beliefs, and in the process of writing that book, I did what I was writing about, which is dismantling beliefs.
Yes.
And it became obvious to me that there are hundreds of millions of people on the planet today that organize their whole lives around Iron Age ancient beliefs, when we had not even a rudimentary knowledge of our world and our planet. And I started looking at beliefs, and I realized that most of our beliefs are a piece of knowledge, I guess you could call it loosely, that sort of fills in a gap, or when we hit a wall, and every belief actually defines the limits of our understanding.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so as we go into this, I think it's going to be really, really important to raise our consciousness and be able to embrace the mystery. Would you like to talk about that?
Yes. I love how you describe the beliefs being right at the edge of our consciousness. It's very interesting, because when we consider, I believe in reincarnation. I believe we've had many lifetimes on the planet, and we've set up a belief system from experiences that we've had many lifetimes ago. Belief systems that, of course, are limited, and then as we evolve, we still have that attachment to those beliefs. They're false beliefs, and yet our creative filter would keep generating the same story over and over again through that false belief structure. And I agree that part of it is it's a way to fill in the mystery, because usually when we face the mystery, we want to fill it in with something, and we fill it in with something from the past. What's interesting about moving into the Aquarian age is that it's so new. It's so absolutely radically new uh, that that we need to tolerate. I shouldn't say tolerate. We need to embrace the mystery because that's the segue into such a radical new reality. And yet, the first thing that happens when we encounter the mystery is all of the false beliefs and all of the history that we're just projecting forward. So it's a process of being willing to examine our belief systems, and your book sounds wonderful, and really look at the ones that are keeping us confined and frightened and separate, and then looking at what happens when we look at the mystery. What happens when we get up to the mystery? Do we, can we handle that much not knowing? And
Yeah.
we are being asked to do that at this juncture.
When I first started to really get honest with myself and let myself sort of, it almost feels like you're falling from a great height when you approach the mystery of existence.
Yes.
And you want to come up with some idea, some belief or something, but the moment I really let myself go into the mystery, the first thing that occurred to me is that they don't call it a mystery for nothing. It's a mystery probably because with our biological minds that we have right now, I mean, I can't grasp infinity or any of these terms that go beyond the boundaries of my linear thinking. And maybe the mystery at this point is something for us to experience and to live fully without encapsulating it in some kind of a belief.
That's beautiful. That makes us so available to the new. As you said, if we cling to these beliefs to give some parameters for our experience, in some ways we're blinding ourselves to what's happening. And the more that we can sit in absolute not knowing, which means leaving the tyranny of the lower mind and all of that, patterns of thought, so that we can open up to the vast expanse. And my understanding is that the segue into the great knowing or the higher intuitive valve is the mystery. And the interesting thing about it is if we didn't project our fear onto the mystery or our past, we could just enjoy it. It's really a deliciously beautiful, wonderful place. It's we don't have to know there. We can just be and see.
Yeah, we don't have to pretend like we know things we don't.
Yes.